Good morning to you, Vini, and thank you for joining me all the way from Boston near the East Coast, New York way in America. Is that right, Vini?
Yeah, Boston, Massachusetts. Yeah.
Great, and welcome to Give Me Five this morning.
Thank you.
Now, Vini, you were brought up in a strict religious environment where you may have had the impression that all Christians, all they wanted to do was exterminate joy from the world. What was your impression?
Well, the strict environment wasn't in my household so much. It was just, being in the Catholic Church. I mean, we went to, there was no time on Sunday, so they used to call it Saturday school, and we used to go to catechisms on Saturday. And the nuns, there was just, there was no levity. There was no joy in it. Well, levity and joy are two different things, but you understand what I'm saying.
I understand.
Yeah, I remember coming home one time crying to my mother because they had shown us a video, or no, actually it was a slideshow of people in flames with a record player on, of people screaming and saying, "This is what happens to you if you don't love Jesus." I mean, I understand that that's the reality of it, but for a kid, it's a little much.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
Yeah, so it was just the whole Catholic thing. I remember going to, and there are a lot of Catholics that love the Lord.
Of course.
It's the structure and the hierarchy. I think that's the problem. But when I was 16, I went to a Easter service, and the priest preached about the crime rate in the United States, and that kind of did it for me. I didn't really, it didn't sit well. What are you talking about the crime rate for? Something else happened that we commemorate on this day. So
right.
I kind of peeled out of formation at that point.
So, Vini, I've read that you had a bad experience whilst body surfing. Tell us about that.
Well, it actually wasn't a bad experience. It was really fearsome, but it, yeah. I when I was a kid, I think I was 19. I was either 19 or 20. Me and a couple of friends decided to, that was the hippie days. So we're talking about 1960s, and myself, we thumbed to California from Boston, Massachusetts. We got dropped off on the Mass Pike. It took us 35 rides to get to Ogallala, Nebraska, where we ended up with some Vietnam vets that were home on leave. And they took us into Julesburg, Colorado, and we had a few too many beers. We ended up in on a Greyhound bus and ended up in California 36 hours later. That's cutting it real short, but we thumbed down the coast of California and ended up in Long Beach, which is just south of LA. And I was body surfing and got caught in a riptide and couldn't get in. I was out there for quite a while. I don't know how long it might have been. For all I knew, it was the whole day. I mean, it was probably just about an hour or so, but I got caught in the riptide and I couldn't get in. And I finally screamed out to God that you got to get me out of here. I was probably about maybe 50 or 100 feet from the pilings, and I was getting pulled in. You know how
scary.
The tide pulls you across the beach, so I was getting pulled into the pilings of the pier. And if I had gone into them, those barnacle, the pilings were, I can't see it. They were big pilings. And if I had gotten smashed into them, I would have been done for. I was so weak at that point. But I called out to God and I caught a wave and got in. And I remember getting a mouthful of sand and just just on the beach right there at that moment, I made a deal with God that, you know, I know you're there, and I know you just got me out of this jam, but I'm not ready for you. So if you'll give me 20 years in the world, then I'll come back. And as it turned out, 20 years later, I moved back to California, having forgotten that deal.
That you made with...
Probably right after I made it.
God, yeah.
And got saved.
That's amazing. So, Vini, 19 years
I'm sorry?
on, 19 years on, your world fell
I made a deal with
into
God. Well, he's the one that...
And
he's the one that kept the deal. I forgot all about it.
Yeah. And what happened when your world did fall in? You had loss and things like that. Can you tell us more about
I'm sorry?
You had loss, you experienced loss in your life and some things like that about your job. Can you tell us more about those things?
All right. Well, those are the things that led up to moving to California. I had worked with my dad. I was a musician and was on the road all through my 20s. I just played solo and I played bars and lounges. I was writing music, but that was like a dream that was just destined to stay a dream. Anyway, when I hit my 30s, I had a relationship that broke up, and I was kind of just floundering, I suppose would be the word. And my dad at dinner one night said, I'm going to sell the business. He owned a printing company. And I said, don't sell the business, Dad. I think that, you know, maybe there's some opportunity there. So I went to work for my dad, and through my 30s, I went to work for my dad. That didn't work out. I ended up being, I wasn't an alcoholic, but I drank heavily on the weekends.
Okay.
And we came to a impasse, and I broke up out of the business and ended up, I was engaged, and I got another job. I lost that job and my fiance on the same week, and things were just tumbling. And that's when I decided to move to California. And that's the 20 years later thing.
Yeah.
It's all coming back here.
Yeah, that was a hard time for you during that time. And then you started...
Yeah, it was perfect though.
Yeah.
It was perfect.
Yeah. You could see God's hand in things, yeah?
Yeah,
and
he was just saying, he's something, isn't he?
Yeah. And then you started doing gigs in LA, and you were pursuing in songwriting. And your friend and manager in a hotel got you a gig out there doing a happy hour music in exchange for a room.
Right.
Now, there was also another guy at the hotel working at that time, and he'd been to Bible college, I believe, and you got into conversation with him. Enlarge on this for us. Well,
in the back of my mind, for some reason, in the back of my mind, I thought, I'm 40, I should probably read the Bible. And why would I think that? Because the Lord planted it in my head. So this is what I thought I was thinking, but actually was put there. And there was a guy that worked at the front desk, and he had been to college, like you said. And I was talking to him, and I said, I think I should read the Bible. And he had a serendipity Bible right there, which is just the New Testament. It was an NIV. And he said, here, why don't you start here? So I started reading the Bible, and, obviously with the New Testament, you start in the Gospels.
Of course.
And I was into Luke before I realized that it was the same story over and over again, but just and it's been, explained to me that it's like the four corners of a crossroads, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Yes. And they're all looking at the same story from a different angle.
Yes, they are.
And it's it started to go in, and then it was funny because I was, I was a typical single male in my, I was in my 40s. I was just on the, actually I was 39 at the time. I didn't actually get saved till I was 40, but
Wow.
But I was, the typical single guy. So I, I was playing in clubs. So I'm looking to meet women in clubs. And there was one gal that I was chatting with, and she said, "Do you go to church?" And I said, "No." She goes, "You need to go to church." And it's funny. I kept running into situations like that where I was getting encouraged.
Yeah, I think God was after you.
I'm not interested in church right now. I'm interested in you, But it was just an interesting situation that the Lord planted all these little, and then I ended up meeting a buddy that was a younger brother of a friend that I had back home, and he was going to Hal Lindsey's church, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with Hal, but he wrote a book called The Late Great Planet Earth. He's very big into biblical prophecy, Bible prophecy, and he was preaching in Torrance, California. And he said, "You want to come to church?" And he said, "Have you ever heard of the rapture?" And I'm going, "What's the rapture?" I remember he called me up and said, "You want to go golfing?" I said, "Sure." He goes, "It's $50." And all I had was $50. I said, "Sure, I'll go golfing." Yeah. So on the way, we talked about it. He goes, "You've never heard of the rapture?" I'm going, fill me in. So I was getting all these bits and pieces from very interesting corners of the world. And,
you certainly were.
Yeah.
You really were. And Vini, how did then you give your life to Christ? And also God gave you a promise, didn't he? Can you tell us more about this?
You mentioned that. I forget, what was that promise?
You said that God gave you a promise? Was it a verse? Oh, I remember it was to do with your album, the Red Album, is it?
Oh, no. Actually, I made a promise to him.
That's right. You made
a promise. When I came, let's go back 20 years again. Okay. When I thumbed to California, we were camped on the side of the road, on the side of Route 80 in Pennsylvania, and we were in a field of wild strawberries. And at the time I was on this, macrobiotic diet or something. I was eating brown rice all the time. And I was going, wow, I can make a sandwich out of these strawberries. So I made this sandwich with a wild strawberry sandwich. And I'm sitting there and I had my guitar. There was 3 of us thumbing with a guitar and 3 backpacks. Hard to get a ride. So I wrote this song called Wild Strawberries, and it was about knowing who Jesus was, but this guy wasn't ready to give his life to that guy. So this is all, it's a tapestry, Yes. And when I got saved, at that point, after I wrote that song, I said to the Lord, who I didn't know, but I knew was there, "If you give me an album, I'll call it Wild Strawberries, and that will be the title cut of the record." So going back again, in 1975, we recorded an album on a small label up in Brewer, Maine, and it's called Wild Strawberries. Actually, you can hear it on the streaming sites, and it's on YouTube as well. But, that's that promise. Okay. So what was the other part of the question?
So how did you actually give your life to the Lord? What made you say, "God, come into my life"?
Okay. I was going to church every week. Tom would say, "I'm picking you up." I go, okay. So we'd go to church, and one day, on one Sunday, Hal lifted up the Bible and he said, "There's nothing in this book that isn't the truth. It's all the truth." And that struck a chord. And I'm sure that I walked down front that day because they'd have an altar call now and then. But I think the defining moment was being home one time watching TBN, and Jan Crouch was on. And she was in one of her crying jags, and she had the mascara, you know, dripping down her cheeks. And you need Jesus. And I put my face in the carpet, and I got saved.
That's amazing.
That was the defining moment for me, I believe.
Amazing. And would you say the Lord has made a difference in your life for you?
Yes.
How?
Well, he's given me perspective. I think I have perspective.
Fantastic.
And I have what's conviction.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm convicted all the time, which I'm grateful for, frankly, because if I wasn't, there'd be a problem.
Yeah. And I think, Vini, I can see that the Lord has had his hand on you from all those years back.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, once he has his hand on you, he doesn't take it away, right?
No, right. That's right. So that's a tremendous
he
testimony.
Keeps his hand on.
And that's an interesting story. So, Vini,
I can't do anything about that.
No.
Everybody has a tremendous testimony, you know.
They do. They really do.
It's it's the four corners again. Only there's like billions of corners.
Yes, you're right. You are right there. So, Vini, if people want to listen to your music, because I have heard you sing and play guitar so beautifully and very anointed. If people want to listen to your music, how can they listen to it today? Is it on Spotify?
Well, just search my name. Yeah. You can search my name on. I mean, there's only a few things up right now, but I'm probably releasing 3 records this year.
Brilliant.
See, I've got a backlog, and I did have a bunch of stuff out, but I pulled it all because I wanted to release it again. So it's all getting released eventually. But there's a song that there's a record that I recorded a couple of years ago that is available right now on Spotify. Brilliant. It's called Standing Man.
And I like the cover too. Standing Man by Vini Contreas, is it?
It's Contreas. C-O-N. It's like Contreras, but it doesn't have the second R in it. I mean, everybody in California thought I was Contreras, and I go, no, it's Contreas. There's a billion Contrerases in California. A billion.
Vini, can I say thank you so much for being my guest today on Gimme Five.
No, that was my pleasure, Jeannie.
You know, things have been difficult for you in your life. I can see that. But I can see how God has turned things around for you and given you renewed joy. And I think that's a wonderful thing. And I think that people listening today, it will help them too to see how God has changed your life, that he can do the same for them. So thank you so much for this interesting interview, an open interview today. So there's only one thing left to do, Vini. Give me 5. Thank you, Vini, and may God bless you in your music. And I'm looking forward to hearing your albums. As I say, I've
actually heard... as a you know, for doing the interview, I'm going to send one to you and Paul.
Oh, thank you. And we really look forward to it too, because we really do enjoy your music, and you've got a beautiful gift from the Lord there. So, Vini, thank you for being my guest today.
Thank you, Jeannie.
It's been a real joy to interview. God bless you. Bye for now.
God bless you.
God bless, Vini.